O Supreme Spirit, saints and sages of all religions, Babaji, Vihari Mahashi, Sri Swamiji, Paramahansa Yogananda, Param Guru Shaliji, and beloved Kriyananda, we bow to all of you. Free our spiritual paths from all difficulties and lead us to the shores of eternal wisdom and bliss. May thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our souls, and may we be able to awaken thy wisdom and love in all hearts. Now, in this meditation, we're going to explore some of the mystery of breath. And we'll use practices and philosophies based on Raja Yoga and Swara Yoga. So, Patanjali and then the ancient tantric scripture. Have you ever noticed, and of course we all know that when we're angry, our breath is more choppy, and when we're rushed or anxiety, our breaths are shorter, closer together. And then there's a reason why they tell you count to 10 when you're angry. It's to calm the breath. A reason why they tell you to breathe into a paper bag if you have an anxiety attack, panic attack, calms the breath. And as the breath goes, so goes the mind. So using these practices, you can use them to focus and control your mind, prepare your body, mind for meditation, get out of bad moods, basically calm yourself down and direct the breath and thus direct the mind. Increasing your awareness of spirit and peace. And also, as we'll see with the Swara Yoga, improving your practical earth life. Now, pranayama comes from two Sanskrit words, prana, which mistakenly people call breath, but what it really is the life force that circulates in something called the pranamaya kosha. And pranamaya kosha is a sheath surrounding your physical body. So this energy comes in to the pranamaya kosha, circulates around your spine, giving you energy, vivifying you, oxygenating the blood. That's prana. And then there's ayama, and ayama means control. So what pranayama really means is control of the life force. And this, we can live for a while, as you know, with fasting, without food for a couple of days, without water, maybe a few more days. But we cannot live more than a few seconds or minutes without breath. So breath is really the secret of life. Breath is life, breath is spirit. And now these so many benefits and types of pranayama that there are. Some of the pranayamas help focus the mind. Some of them bring you extra energy, like the fire breath. Some of them soften emotions. They bring in more energy. They eliminate toxins, the bellows breath and such. They restore your natural rhythm of breathing. And actually, there's a theory in Hinduism that you're only allotted so many breaths per lifetime. Let's say it's 84 million. So you can breathe those breaths really fast and choppy, and then you'll have a shorter life, or you can breathe them long and slow and relaxed. And that will actually lengthen your life. And the Hindus actually bless their children, Ayushman Baba, may you have long life, because that is considered karmically favorable. So the normal person breathes something like 14 to 20 breaths per minute. But doing the pranayama practices, you can slow it down to 14 or even less. All of this in preparation for meditation and calmer earth life. Now, the word for lungs is actually pneuma, Pneu. And that comes from a Greek word nu, and in Hebrew it's ruach. And those words mean breath, but they also mean spirit. In all the languages you can find, breath, the breath word is also spirit. Wind is soul. So the lungs are considered actually your holy chalice. This is the secret holy grail, your lungs, because this is the closest point where the spirit enters and touches your body, actually. But, you know, it's a crazy world, and there's all these upsetting things going on, and social media, and overload of data, and constant bombardment from other people's thoughts and emotions, and television and whatnot in your work day. So constant stresses, and consequently we have lost our natural rhythm of breathing, our natural rhythms of heartbeat, and all those other things. So we're really, really out of sync with spirit, or some of us are at least. But when you use the conscious breathing practices, we can restore this natural rhythm. And you do this very simply by just slowing down, pulling your energies inward, lifting to the Agya center, the sun center, and just closing your eyes and watching the breath. And Kriyananda used to recommend, even during your work day, even if you're standing, you take a moment, pull your energies in and pull them up. Do that just for a few seconds. And Kriyananda also recommended that you speak with your diaphragm. You thank it for what it's doing, because it's working all the time. And you talk to it, you say, diaphragm, do your duty. And this helps it remember to restore your rhythm. And then the energies get reharmonized and the rhythm flows by its own nature. Now I'll give you a true story, true example of how I was able to use breath very simply in a dire situation. And here we were doing a tour of the Yucatan, and I had just been taking these incredible pyramids at Uxmal, and the guide stopped on the road and by a cave, and he said, "Hey, we should go in here. It's famous. It's got all these Mayan artifacts in it and such." And I'm totally claustrophobic, and I don't like the dark, and I don't like small places, so I balked at that. But then, I thought, well, I want to see Mayan statues and all this. I've never seen that before. So the small group went in. It's dark. We had to crawl through a passage, a rectangular narrow passage, on our bellies to actually get to this main semicircular room where there were all these Mayan god statues and ceremonial offerings. And I'm looking around, and it was very, very fascinating. And all of a sudden, this string of light bulbs that's running through the cave, the lights go out. Worst nightmare for a claustrophobe, right? In the middle of a chamber where we had to crawl on our bellies, and I'm just starting to panic, seriously. And then I just said to myself, listen, you have no choice. You have to control this. So I closed my eyes, took several long, deep breaths, and I just kept doing that until I calmed down. And sure enough, after a little bit of that, just slowing down the breath, I was calmer and able to think, and then pulled out the flashlight that I'd wisely brought before, gave it to the guide. He led us crawling through that passage into the main room, and then we could see the entrance, and we survived that experience. But really, if I had not controlled the breath, it would have been really not good. So one thing I would like to practice with you, with your permission, one technique for calming the breath, there's belly breathing, which expand the belly, into the ribs, chest, and then up to the shoulders and chin level, and then back down. Deep belly breathing. But the other technique for calming, or one other technique for calming, is to make the exhalation longer than the inhalation. And as you know, the breath, or may not know, the breath has 4 parts to its cycle. An inhalation, a slight hold where it switches to the exhalation, and a slight hold at the bottom with the empty lungs. Full chalice, empty chalice. So what we're going to do is simply, and we'll do it to my count. If you would, what we're going to do is breathe into a count of 4, and then exhale to a longer count, a count of 6. If you're able to do 8, you can do 8. It's your rhythm. So let's start by sitting in a chair, spine straight, comfortable, hands in the lap. Close the eyes. Take a few normal breaths. And imagine your energies pulling in from the extremities, from the feet up to the legs, up into the thighs, into the trunk of the body. And imagine your energies then from extremities of your hands and fingers up through the arms and shoulders, again into the trunk of the body. And then pull the energy yet further into the very center of the spine. And gently lift your energy up the middle of the spine to the sun center, the root of the eyebrows between the nose. And we're going to breathe in to a count of 4 and exhale to a count of 6. So let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now it's your own rhythm. Inhale, but exhale, making the exhale count a little bit longer. And now slowly return to normal breathing. Your attention back to the room. Wiggle your hands and feet. Rotate your ankles a bit. Stretch. And next we're going to talk about a very arcane and mystical subject, a branch of breath control called Swara Yoga. And this is taken from tantric scriptures. Tantric scripture called the Shiva Swarodaya. It was written way back when, but it was not retranslated until the 1800s recently by one of the Swamis. So what Swara Yoga is, it's the practice of being aware of the breath and aligning it with the planetary positions, the days of the week, the moon positions, and such, and the tattvas. Now, the tattvas are subtle elements, and these elements are Oops, I can get that straight there. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And each one, as you can see, relates to a chakra. But they also cycle. Okay, your breath switches nostrils pretty much every 2 hours. One of the nostrils will be more dominant, more open, more breath flowing through. And sometimes you're breathing through the Idic channel, which is the lunar channel, more associated with passive activities, dream states, intuitional activities, and such. And then when it switches to the right nostril, you're breathing through the Pingala channel. And this is the solar channel, the active channel, the conscious mind, the go out and do things. So in Swara Yoga, we align the breath based on the operative nostril also, but also within a cycle of one of the nadis active, well, within the cycles, also the 5 elements switch around in your nostrils. For part of that, say 2-hour cycle that the idas, that one or the other is active, you'll have fire being the dominant element. And then for 20 minutes later, it'll be the earth being the dominant element. So Swara brings an awareness of this. And it's a subtle practice and very, very fascinating. But we're going to go deeper into it now. Now, they say that when the Ida Nadi or channel, you're breathing mostly through the left nostril, when that is active, it says in the Swara scriptures, the activities it's good for are grocery shopping, gardening, purchasing clothes, meeting relatives, healing therapies, singing, dancing, learning, starting of a new area of study, and journey to a far place and making peace. And then they say that when the right nostril is active, the Pingala channel, the solar channel, it's good for outgoing activities, martial arts or teaching them, gymnastics, practicing shastras or tantra, writing manuscripts, chopping wood, using fire, cutting gems, studying sciences, practicing medicine, hard work, journey to a near place. And he even says destructive activities, which could be if you're working for a crew that has to knock down a building, and committing crimes, which hopefully we're not going to want to do. And another thing that's extremely important is not only do the nadis switch, but during the time that they switch, that short minute or two, breath flows evenly through both nostrils. And when it's doing that, it's flowing through Sushumna channel, which is the middle pillar, the balance between the Ida and Pingala, the feeling state versus the logic state or the emotional state, the middle channel. And when it flows through Sushumna, they say the only thing that you should be doing there is sitting quietly or meditating. So they don't want you starting any activities doing any activity during Sushumna. So what would be interesting to do, I'm going to explain there's ways of detecting which is the active nostril. Of course, we have to know that, right? So one way is to press one nostril, let's say the right nostril, and see if the breath is passing unobstructed openly through the other nostril. And the other, and then you can change it and compare which had a smoother breath flow. And if you go home, you can actually put a mirror under your nostrils and you'll see there'll be more vapor on the more open nostril. The other way is to close one nostril and feel whether the breath is cool. They may both be cool, but one's going to be cooler. The one that has the greater breath flow, the more open nostril, is going to be cooler air. So let's practice that, detecting the dominant nostril. So if you would again, sit comfortably in your chair, pull your energies in, pull them up to the sun center, breathe a few normal breaths. And if you like, close off your right nostril and breathe through your left. And now, did that feel fairly open? Did it feel cool? Let's compare. Now take your thumb and close off your left nostril and breathe through the right. And if you like, we can repeat. So which was the more dominant nostril? Which had the smoother, cooler breath flow? That's one of the ways you can find out. And then you adjust your activities accordingly. Now, what they say in the Swara Shastras is that changing the operative nostril is one of the remedies. It can change your mood. If you're in a bad mood and you're noticing that your breath is mostly through the left nostril, you can lay on your left side and it will open the right nostril, the Pingala channel. So that's one method of working with the Swaras. They say it can heal a disease if you lay on the side of the operative nostril and switch it. It says that it can bless a journey if you know which nostril to start the journey on, depending what direction you're going even. And ultimately, these practices can give you awareness to lift the Kundalini. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, and when we were practicing the observing the dominant nostril, it's possible it could have been going equally through both nostrils, and that would have been the Sushumnic period. Now, the definition of Swara itself is two Sanskrit words. Swa, or Sva, means self, but it doesn't mean little ego self. It means big cosmic consciousness self, the reality, what you really are, the giant blissful self. So that's what Swa means, and Swara thus means also breath, or so it's breath, it's the real self, and it also means vowel, interestingly. And as you know, you cannot speak without vowels. I don't think there's no language that you can speak without a vowel, even the clicking ones, I think. Just try to say a consonant without a vowel. Try to say another one. You need an outflow of breath, a vowel, to say that. Ba, be, bi, bo, boo, and such. So breath is self, and it's also vowel. Now, the science, as I mentioned, does come from the Shiva Swarodaya, and what that scripture is a dialogue between Shiva, who is the god of dissolution and recreation, and his consort wife Parvati. And in there, Parvati asks Shiva, "O Lord of gods, Mahadev, please be kind to me and tell me about the knowledge that gives all cities the power to achieve anything one desires. How has this universe evolved? How does it change from one form to another? Where does it merge during the period of annihilation? Please explain to me the process of creation, preservation, and destruction of the universe." And Shiva answered, "Tadvad Brahmananda Putanam, Tadvain Paravarite, Tatva Vivate Devi, Tatvad Brahmand Niryaya." The universe has originated from the tattvas, the elements. All changes in the world of names and forms are changes in the elements. Into the elements all merge at the time of annihilation. The elements are, O Devi, the main constituents of the universe. There was in the beginning the one without name and form, the one without any attributes. From him originated Akasha. From Akasha originated air. From air originated fire. From fire originated water. From water, earth. Then the five elements each divided themselves into five and created the multiple forms of the visible world. Elements appear and disappear in their subtle form in the body and its psychic centers, the chakras, and in each nasal cycle, providing nourishment. Now, I'd like to go deeper into the study of the tattvas here. Let's see if I can get that diagram centered. Yes. Okay. And so we know there's earth associated with the Saturn chakra, water associated with the Svadhisthana, the Jupiter chakra, fire associated with Manipura or Mars chakra, air associated with Venus or Anahata, and ether in the throat associated with the Vishuddha chakra. Now, when any given tattva is active, it will have a shape within your nostril. So when the earth element is active in your nostril, the breath flows pretty much through the center of your nostril. It's pretty full and it flows down through the center. That's earth. It has a shape of just flowing out like a rectangle. When it's the water tattva is active, you feel the breath mostly in a crescent shape at the bottom of your nostril where it flares. So water is at the bottom and crescent. When the fire element is active, it's a triangle at the top. The breath is more toward the top of the nostrils, toward the sinuses. When the air element is active, you feel the breath going out through the sides of the nostrils. When the ether element is active, and it's active for the shortest time, you feel the breath rotating around in a circle inside your nostril. Those are very, very subtle perceptions, but with your permission, I would like to try with you to meditate, and we can see if we can determine which tattva is flowing. So, if you would, sit again, once again, comfortably in your chair. Pull your energies in from the feet up to the legs, up into the thighs, into the trunk of the body, and from your hands and fingers up through the elbows and shoulders to the trunk of your body. Pull it in from the sides of the trunk into the spinal area. Pull it in further from the spine into the very center. And just observe your breath. Making no attempt to control it, For a few minutes, let's just observe it. As it flows in and out by its own nature. And now, see if you can feel or see in your mind's eye the subtle shape of the breath. Is the breath long and going through the center of your nose? If so, then the earth element is active. Or do you feel the breath more at the bottom of the nostril, where it flares out, more like a crescent shape? It's most of the breath down at the bottom. If so, then the water element is active. Do you feel it at the top of the nostril, sort of in a triangle shape? Don't try to force it, just watch. And if so, then the fire element is active. Or do you feel it going out through the sides of the nostrils? And if so, then the air element is active. And lastly, do you feel it, sense it rotating around inside the nostrils? If so, that means the ether element is predominant. So gently return your energies back to your limbs, stretch a little bit. Think about just for a few seconds how subtle those perceptions are. And then we'll talk about, I think we will review then how they could be used. So, changing your mood, we mentioned, by laying on your side. If you've ever noticed the sleeping Buddha, he's laying on his right side. Well, why is that? Well, he's activating the lunar channel, the dream channel. So changing a mood. And here's really something, an insight that I had. After practicing being aware of those tattvas and their changes, I started realizing, okay, maybe I'm agitated because the fire element is active. And the secret, great secret, wait it out. Wait it out another hour till the nadis change. Wait it out a few minutes till the active tattva changes. And the mood will disappear. You just take it a couple hours a day. And instead of fighting a bad mood, tell yourself, wait it out, and it will change because the active tattva will change. So you can do this, lay on your right side, putting a pillow under your right shoulder, and that will, if you want more dream awareness, that will activate the Ida channel, bring more dream awareness. Fall asleep on your right side. And again, we mentioned curing an ailment. Lay on the active side of the active nostril, and the other one should open. They say when the moon is waxing at sunrise, the right nostril should be operating. And when the moon is waning at sunrise, the left nostril is open. So for those early risers, you can observe and attune to that. And as we know now, the method for switching them, the days of the week are associated with these nostrils. The Ida, the left nostril, is associated with Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And the right nostril, the Pingala, is associated with Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday. And one little practice I like to do is become aware of that and get out of bed on the foot that corresponds to the active day of the week. Okay, it's not nostrils, but it's getting on the good foot. Elements appear and disappear in their subtle form in the body and its psychic centers in each nasal cycle, providing nourishment. All desires, feelings, and emotions are related to the 5 elements. The elements are at the root of the psychodrama of life. Only yogis know this truth. Yogis know this truth because they are the ones that try to achieve the state of consciousness that's beyond the reach of the elements. Elements cause the mind to fluctuate and make one wander in the forest of desires. The primary scripture of Swara Yoga, Shiva Swarodaya, goes on to praise the science of breath as the highest wisdom. Swara Veda Shastrani Swara Gandhara Mutanam Swara Cha Sarvatrilokyam Swarmatam Swarupkam. Swaras are the Vedas and the Shastras, the scriptures. Swaras are the best music. The matrikas, the consonants and vowels, are swaras themselves. In other words, swaras encompass the entire wisdom, music, and sound of the universe. This knowledge of swaras gives access to the secret of all secret sciences, brings forth the essence of all knowledge, and gives awareness. It's the crown gem on the head of knowledge. Listen, O Devi, I will tell you the knowledge that's essential for all who dwell in their body, by knowing which all which is knowable is known. Nadi Bedam Tattva Prana Tattva Bedam Tattvaicha. Shushumna Misra Bedam Chayojanati Samuktiga. One who knows the secrets of the nadis and their operation and effect, of prana, the difference between the 5 kinds of prana, and of Shushumna gets liberated from the cycle of birth and death and becomes totally enlightened. One who knows about the 3 nadis and the 5 tattvas cannot be equaled by 1 billion precious medicines. One who has this precious knowledge is unique because he or she knows the technique of working with the body, mind, and consciousness in the most efficient way. Doing the right thing at the right moment makes one unique, whereas doing the right thing at the wrong moment makes one dull. Those who practice the science of Swara Yoga never suffer from failure and discontent. They know how to change the vibrational pattern of the environment to their advantage. Now, you don't have to remember. We did a lot of practice and we went through a lot of theory. Instead of having to try to remember this, you can refer for the Swara Yoga information. It's an excellent book by Harish Johari called Breath, Mind, and Consciousness. And the scripture is in there, and also the tattva, and a whole lot more detail that we didn't go into. And for pranayamas, which is the 4th rung on the Raja Yoga ladder, I would refer you and recommend highly Kriyananda's Spiritual Science of Kriya Yoga, which is a whole chapter on pranayamas. It explains their benefits and whether they cool or warm and vivify, or they're meant to bring kundalini and so on. And also the preliminary pranayama techniques. Blessings of the lineage. May you be blessed to use the secrets and theory of pranayama and swara, and to practice breath awareness, that you may find well-being and contentment and harmony in all your actions. Restore your natural rhythm. Expand to full enlightenment and be a blessing and share with others. Om Tat Sat Om. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace.